So let's start. So anyway, so things, as I said, right, things that I would try to cover is the experience towards PhD and what is our, probably a kind of what kind of homework that we'll have to do in terms of getting the admission towards PhD, right? So there are a lot of questions in terms of what exactly are the entrance tests to be written, I mean, the part time is allowed, etc., etc. Right? So those are all the things that we are going to discuss. First thing, based on UGC norm. So we are purely talking based on UGC norm. Based on UGC norm, getting into PhD, the qualification that is required to get into PhD is you need to have a PG course, or else you need to have a professional degree which runs for 4 years and also have 75% of marks in that professional degree. Okay. In PG, you require at least 55% of marks. So overall percentage, I'm not talking about every subject having it, overall percentage should be 55% if you have a PG. If you don't have PG, UG will also do, but it has to be a 4 years professional degree and you need to have 75% in that. Okay. So most of the universities, they try to limit for only PG. Some universities do allow this UG 75% candidates as well. But they will say that you will have to do some extra credits, courses, etc., before getting into PhD. Okay, so it kind of you end up doing a mini PG before doing the PhD kind of thing. So instead of 3 years, you will end up doing 4 years of PhD kind of a thing if you are from the UG background. So that is the basic criteria. Okay, and the second thing about the thing is this entrance test and all. Okay, so there is net UGC net entrance test, which is generally used as a common entrance test for most of the universities. So if you have UGC net score, okay, then that can be used as a qualification for putting up the application of PhD. Otherwise, even if you don't have UGC net, you can still apply for PhD. But what you will end up doing is these every university does have their own entrance test. So for example, if you are actually applying for a Bhartiyar University, there is an entrance test Bhartiyar does have. If you are applying Amrita, there is an entrance test. If you are applying Alliance, you will have to go through the Alliance entrance test. So every university does have their own entrance test if you are actually applying for that particular university. And format of this entrance test is different for every university. So every university does have their own format. There is no fixed format for it. Okay. So what it means is, yes, writing UGC net and having a score is beneficial in one angle where you don't really have to prepare separately for every university. Okay. In case if you are planning to apply for 10 odd universities and try your luck in all the 10 universities, instead of writing 10 different exams, which are conducted in different way. One can have MCQ, one can have interviews, one can have some other way of doing the entrance test. So instead of going through all different processes, people might actually write UGC and net exam, and then the same score can be used to apply. Okay, that is the advantage of writing UGC net. But as I said, it is not mandatory to start the application process. Okay, so, and the second, the most important aspect towards PhD is how exactly the PhD selection is going to happen. So, PhD selection is going to happen. For example, let's say you approached a university, any university for that matter. Okay. So first thing is this entrance test. The basic check is done. Your basic qualifications are checked before even vetting your application, right? The first stage is your basic qualifications, which we talked about, PG with 55% mark. You are there, tick mark done. Now you have UGC net score, or else let's say university's own entrance test net score. Tick done. Second tick is also done. Now comes third tick. Okay. The third tick is the most trickiest part and unique about PhD, which is your topic. Okay. So the way that we are up when we are applying any university, you need to apply using a topic. Basically, you need to tell what is your topic. Okay. And this topic is not like broad, saying that, okay, I want to do PhD in counseling psychology. I want to do PhD in organization psychology. Not like that. Topic is very specific. Okay. For example, your topic could be like, okay, I want to do research on how exactly grit affects an employee success. So for example, that is the topic that I went with. Okay. Similarly, there are other topics like, okay, how primary education is affecting the individual's success in the adulthood. So you will have to probably narrow down the topic very much, very specific to the topic, and then take the topic as the topic that you would want to do a PhD. Okay. So for any application process, before even you apply, you need to have what is the topic that you would want to do PhD as such. Okay. So it is not that you join PhD and guide will tell this is your topic. No, you need to approach with a topic. Okay. So your application will be screened based on the topic that you have actually chosen. Okay. So now the second question is my PG, for example, let's say I want to choose a topic. I did in organizational psychology. Can I choose a topic which is related to clinical psychology? Can I choose a topic which is related to counseling psychology? Absolutely, yes. Your selection of whatever the specialization in PG doesn't really play a big role while they are selecting your topic. No, you are seen as masters in psychology. That's it. Okay. So if you want to select a topic which is related to clinical and you haven't done clinical psychology in our MA course, it is not going to matter much. Okay. So you can freely choose any topic which is more relevant to whatever that you would want to passionately work on. Okay. So now so yes, you have chosen the topic. Now what is the criteria that university really apply on that topic, right? So every university does have staff, right? Professors. So there are like three, four professors depending on the university. There are professors who can be your guides, right? So every professor has got some specializations by themselves. Okay. So some professor might be doing research in education field. Some professor might be doing research in organizational well-being or something else. Some professor might be concentrating on human resource management, etc., etc. Okay. So every professor might have their own specialization. Okay. The first criteria that they look out of your topic is this topic something which is exciting to them or not? Okay. For example, my area of interest is education. Okay. And you bought a topic related to organization, let's say. Okay. As a guide, I might not be interested in taking your topic because as a guide, I need to guide you. If I am not convenient with the topic, if I think that I don't know anything about organization, I can't guide the student, then it is very unlikely that they will select you. Okay. So this is point A. First criteria of selection of your topic is the guides who are actually interviewing you, basically guide who is looking at your application and talking to you during the Viva process. He should be convinced saying that, okay, yes, I can guide this candidate. Okay. That is first. Second, they will actually check for your commitment to PhD. Okay. Commitment to PhD in the sense they need to be convinced. So they might really ask questions saying that, okay, why you want to do PhD? What you are going to do post PhD? Okay. So all these questions are only to check your commitment to PhD. Basically, are you going to stick around for 3 years or 4 years and complete the PhD process or not? Okay. If they get a feeling saying that, okay, yes, this candidate is just doing for just fun and he can probably leave after a year because he's not so dependent on PhD. then there is a chance that they will actually put you on hold. So that is why most of the universities prefer full-time students on top of part-time students, just because the likelihood of full-time student completing the PhD is more when compared to part-time student. Okay, because full-time student is committing because he is not doing any other work apart from PhD. Part-time student always can actually jump off because he is not in so much of a need. That is how they actually, most of the universities think. Okay, but from UGC point of view, norms for full-time student and part-time student is no different. All the selection criteria, everything like these percentages or number of years required and what is the criteria to do fulfill PhD, etc., etc., no different. No difference in part-time and full-time if you're talking about UGC guidelines or norms. Okay, but the differentiation of full-time and part-time is only coming from the universities, and lot of universities don't even take part-time just because they think that part-time students are not committed enough. They might actually run away in between the PhD. Okay, and a lot of universities are okay to take the risk and take the candidates in. So it's not that all universities will reject part-time students, but it all depends on the confidence of the guide. So even if you approach a university and you know a guide and you probably convince them saying that you can do part time and then stay for 3 years or 4 years till PhD is completed, then even in the universities where generally they don't allow part time, they might actually allow you because guide is totally convinced that you can do it. Okay, but yes, obviously renowned universities like IITs or IAs or etc., etc., the deans might not really say, might not allow such shortcuts, but yes, I mean, possibility wise it is possible. Okay, so that is about part time and full time, and the criteria while they are actually saying yes to the topic, right? The other sub points where they will evaluate in the topic is this topic is, I mean, can research be completed on this topic or not? If you take a big topic and they think, oh, this topic requires 10 years of research, then universities might not prefer taking you as a student because they can't really have one student occupying the seat for long and and then waste the seat for the other candidate in. So they would want to take a topic which is doable and easy to complete. That is another criteria which they look. So if you fulfill all these criteria, then getting an admission into PhD is not very tough. Okay. So now how you are going to actually select the university? Take this selection criteria itself. Okay. First of all, you will have to select the topic. Okay. It is clear. Even before you starting the journey of PhD, you will have to select the topic. Okay. So this, and one more question that would come on the selection of topic is, now as a student, I don't know much about psychology. So how do I select the topic? Okay. See, it is basically we might have to do some googling, some stuff, etc., etc. See how the research papers are written. There is some amount of homework that needs to be done to select the topic. But is this topic going to remain your PhD title even after joining? May not be. The guide might sit with you and he or she might tune that particular topic little more. Okay, so the tuning will happen after joining as well. It's not that that topic is going to remain your topic even after you join. So there is still a window of change of topic even after you join PhD. Okay, so this window is is going to be very much in the beginning of your PhD journey itself. But ultimately, there is a window where you can change the topic. But overall area in which that you would want to do and the topic etc etc is something that you pre-select and go to a guide. Okay, so now the approach in general is followed. How exactly you're going to select universities and guides and other stuff, right? it is very clear that you select a topic. So now typically how students do is, now you take this topic, go to whatever the universities that you think are relevant in the area where you are actually there. Like for example, in Bangalore, there are list of universities, right? So in each university, just check the staff page. There would be a page for every university where staff qualifications research papers are published, saying that okay, so and so is the lecturer, is proficient in quality engineering and did lot of research on how exactly quality can be improved in an organization, kind of. I mean, there would be a profile, right? So you might have to go through profiles of these staff, basically whoever is there in the university. There you can make judgment whether your topic can be interesting to this staff or not. Okay, so that's how you can judge when you are proposing a topic and applying to the university. What is the likelihood of you getting selected there? Okay, so if you go to a university with a topic where staff is not really there, staff, whatever the staff that you are actually trying to reach are having a different proficiency, then most likelihood that your application might not go through. Okay, so there is an amount of research that you'll have to do first to select the topic. Second, while applying to the university, you can just see what are the interest areas of the staff. Okay, then you will be able to judge. So based on interest area of staff as well, what you can do in case, let's say you fixed university, you want to join Amrita as a university, let's say, example. Okay, then the approach that you should follow is just go to Amrita University, see what all staff are there, see what are their areas, and in that area try to search for a topic. That is a reverse way of you checking based on staff, you checking the topic. In case if you are okay to change your topic. Okay. So either, so ultimately it is matchmaking that is going to happen. Your topic and guide. So either you need to change your topic or the guide that you are trying to apply for. That is all it is about. Okay. So any doubts till now for anyone?
No, it's clear.
Okay.
Praveen,
So
not a doubt,
yes.
but what I have understood from a couple of universities, despite
Mhm.
having a net score, you'd still
Mhm.
have to do one or two papers as entrance.
See, that is why I'll come to that. I'll come to
Yeah.
that. Okay. So I talked about the ability in terms of evaluating whether you are will be able to do this particular research or not, right? So typically in PhD, see, they want to select a candidate who wants to finish a PhD, right? Who can finish the PhD, right? So typically in the process of PhD, what you are going to actually do is ultimately going to write in a very simplistic term whatever project that we did in a mammoth way. You are going to do that particular project which can fit for 3 years, kind of a thing. So the format of the way that you will have to write thesis, etc., etc., is probably a bigger way of writing this particular project. So you will have to end up writing a thesis, like a paper, and even before you actually do that thesis, you will have to present at least two papers. Okay, so and preferably one of those can be outside India as well. Okay, so two or three papers is what will be minimum required to even go towards submission of your thesis. So why universities really mandate that you need to write papers is because they want to know your ability to write paper. Let's say you already wrote paper. Okay, that means you are somebody who is capable of writing paper. So that means the process of PhD is easy for you, right? Otherwise, you will have to learn how to write a paper, and then you will have to go through the process of writing the thesis and paper and all those stuff. So that is why renowned universities where there is lot of demand, students are applying left and right. They put all these kind of selection criteria to select candidates who are more capable, uh, trying to take up topics which are like very significant as far as research is concerned. So that is how the criteria really came as far as the papers are concerned. But paper is not a criteria as far as UGC is concerned. Is it clear, Diti? Okay.
Yes,
So
Praveen, it wasn't about the papers I was talking about. I was talking about admission exam, entrance exam. Entrance exam, most universities do allow for net. However, there are still one or two papers that they still want you to write despite
no, no,
having
no,
a
no,
net score.
no, no, no. See, basically that is what net score is the only criteria as far as UGC is concerned. Okay, net score, not even net score for that matter. University score would be enough. Paper is an additional filtering that universities are applying. Yes, you are right. Some universities says that you need to have at least two papers because they want to select a candidate who has got a proven ability of writing the paper. Because in PhD you will have to write paper. So if you have already having an experience of writing the paper, you have proved your ability that you are writing a paper. You can write a paper. That is the point.
Also, also, it's a prerequisite of PhD that you have to publish two papers before you actually submit your thesis. So, if you haven't published two papers, then your thesis will not be evaluated. So, it's one of the
That is
compulsory requirement as well for thesis, like Praveen said, that this is how we learn how to write, because thesis writing is like maybe 10 more times tedious tasks of writing.
Yeah. I wasn't talking
yes.
about papers. No, I
No,
wasn't
I
talking
got
about
your
paper.
point.
Mm,
I got your point. You are saying even
mm.
to get into PhD, you need to write two papers before even that. That is exactly
No,
what I am
no,
saying.
no, not paper. I'm not talking paper at all. I'm talking of
Mm-hmm.
entrance exam. In the entrance exam, most universities have two papers, which is two subjects, which is research and your subject. Okay, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
universities, despite having a net score, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
still requires you to take the admission exam,
Okay. Yeah.
entrance exam.
Probably you might be right, but we haven't encountered any university who had both. The universities that we try to reach, they asked either you need to have a net score or
Mhm.
else you will have to take entrance test of the university.
Okay, yeah, that's what a lot
Eh,
of them says. Yes, true.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
couple of universities have this requirement as well.
Okay. Yeah, probably I am not aware of that. Yes, could be true because
I
every university does have their own
Yeah,
filtering criteria. There is nothing which UGC mandates on that. Every universities are free to actually put their own criteria. So you might be right, but yes, I haven't actually encountered that, but could be true.
yeah,
No,
cool.
but I
Yes.
haven't seen such thing. There are only two possibilities. If you have net, actually there are more chances of you not writing the test. But interview is something which everybody has to go through, no matter whether you are net
Exactly,
qualified or not.
True,
The whole
true.
exactly.
selection process is based on the interview which is given. Like Praveen said, the topic you have chosen, whether the college is ready to accept that topic or not, whether they can support the student or not, and vice
Yeah,
versa.
True.
Students also look for topics
and
where the professor can take care of.
and and there was a question from Pallavi on the part time and full time. Yes, part-time is allowed. It all depends on the universities. We just spoke a few minutes back on that particular thing. So there is no restriction as far as part-time and full-time, but every university does have their own preference. So some of the universities might not take part-time just because they think part-time candidates might not be able to complete the PhD. Okay. So it is up to the university to allow part-time and full-time, but you need to probably, if you're pursuing part-time, then better to check with the university and then apply for it. Okay, but yes, there are a lot of universities who do allow part-time PhD. And related to stipend, it is only full-time students who will get the stipend. Okay, so it is almost like you are joining like a staff and providing required assistance to the universities as well, apart from your PhD. Then only you will end up getting stipend. Part-time candidates will not get stipend, rather they will have to pay the fee for whatever the PhD degree that they are doing. Okay, so yes, if you are a full-time, To get stipend, you don't really require, there is no requirement of UGC net or anything like that. It is university who could actually accept you as a full-time student and may join you as a research assistant, and then they can start paying the stipend for you. Okay, but part-time, there is no chance. If you are part-time, then there is no chance of any stipend or anything like that.
Praveen,
Okay, so
uh,
yes,
you have mentioned about writing papers,
yes.
publishing papers, and it is related to your own research or something else?
No, you see, if it can be any research, if you are talking about the selection criteria,
No, no, I'm
okay,
talking about after PhD.
it is,
You said, sorry,
should be
after
related to topic.
selection, your
It
own
should be
topic, am I right?
yes, exactly, exactly. Related to your topic. It need not to be exactly dot on the hypothesis that you are trying to apply thesis on. It could be related to that particular topic in and around that area is what you will have to end up writing the
I
paper.
I would like to add something in here. Don't choose the same topic which you have chosen for PhD thesis,
Correct.
because you can't use the same research result in your thesis, because that is called self-plagiarism, which we try to avoid. So the research
Oh,
paper could be of the same area, but don't mix it with the main thesis. So keep it separate.
so this is like you have to do a mini research to publish.
Yeah, as Praveen said,
Ultimately,
it's more about your capability of writing and understanding the whole process of introduction, how to create an abstract introduction, how you, what method are you using, what are the results. So it's like a very short form of thesis, you can say. It's like a capsule form of that,
Hmm.
kind of.
paper in a more elaborated way will become a thesis. Your project in a more elaborated way could become a thesis.
No, my
So,
question is the paper means it shouldn't be, there shouldn't be any plagiarism. It should be unique.
correct.
So you
Absolutely.
need, if you are submitting two papers, actually you need three topics in total to do PhDs. Am I right?
Yes.
You can say yes, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
that's
For
right.
example, like if I'm doing in management, I can pick up one employee performance, maybe another one could be well-being, and third one could be coaching, but something could be related in the same area, but a little different, which gives a little more insight towards how to write a paper properly. There are so many topics to do research on, so I'm sure we can figure it out. And there's also another good way of doing this paper is there are a lot of conferences which keep calling for papers. There's a call for papers. So if you look at that, you will get to know there are some topics which are in use or which could be useful for solving the current problem. So the conferences are specific for those. Like for example, there's one conference which is looking for papers on well-being. There are one conference which is looking on papers on happiness of employees. So they keep sharing these kind of topics. So if we pick up that also, we create a substract and share it with them. If they like it, we even get an opportunity to present that paper in those conferences, and we get like 3 4 months of time to actually work on the whole paper. So we can do it with secondary research, reading a lot of literature from other sources or other researchers, and create something our own.
Oh, but not necessarily you need to go do I mean, sampling and testing. Nothing you don't have to do.
You have to. It depends on. So, see, testing, not necessarily that you're collecting primary data. You can do the
Secondary
testing on
data.
secondary data also. So, it depends. I think Praveen is the right person to explore more on that, like share more on that.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyway, I'll go to the topic in terms of what would be the requirement once you join, right? See, as we are talking about writing this paper, writing the thesis is one of the most important things, right? So you will definitely have to actually go through that particular process on how exactly you can do a research related writing.
Mm.
How to write paper is one course that you will definitely have to actually go through. Similarly, plagiarism, right? Research ethics. is an another aspect that you need to understand how to copy, what not to copy, when you copy it, what how to actually mention
Okay.
about it. Okay, so basically all this comes under the plagiarism which Kritika was talking about, self-plagiarism and all those stuff. Understanding that comes on the research ethics. Okay, similarly, our whatever the paper that we, whatever the subject that we, when we learn research methods, like how to design a research. Okay, what are the various mechanisms to collect the sample or conduct a research, etc., etc. So that is another topic which becomes very important. So in the beginning of your PhD, you will have to learn all go through all these courses. So every university will have a mandatory coursework that you will have to actually complete before you get into a main theme of research. Okay, so some universities might have 6 months of this coursework, and some universities might have a 1 year coursework. It all depends on how much universities want to prep you towards your PhD. So all these things are preparatory works, which every university does have their own way of doing that preparation. Okay, some might really call for some practicals, some might really say that you need to sit in the class and learn, some might say that you will have to go through online courses. Every university does have their own way. There is no mandatory or one single way which every university follows. But one thing is sure, that every university will have a mandatory coursework to start with. That is sure. But how that coursework needs to be done, it all depends on the university to university changes. Okay. And the period of that coursework is also something that changes. It could be around 6 months to 1 year is what you can expect, depending on the university. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
that is the first thing. Okay. The once you get into the topic, as we already understand, that two papers are something that you will have to write and publish. Okay. Then you will write thesis. Okay, and then you submit the thesis, which will be evaluated by the external committee. Okay, and then external committee will have to approve that your thesis is right. So for that, they will call you for a defense, where it is like a viva, where you will actually tell your topic, what you did, and all those stuff. You will explain your thesis, and you will have to defend by answering their questions. So if you successfully defend your thesis that you submitted with the externals, then you are awarded PhD. Okay. Even before reaching to that particular stage of external submission of thesis, the other aspect that we need to understand here is, even within the college, there is a guide who is the main guide who is actually guiding you, right? So apart from main guide, there can be a co-guide as well. Let's say if your topic is a multidisciplinary topic, where it does have some amount of psychology, some amount of math, some amount of management, let's say, then they might actually give something called as a co-guide. Okay. So apart from co-guide, there is an SME, or rather a subject matter expert, that needs to be part of that. So there is a small committee that they form internal in the college to guide you. One is main guide, the other can be co-guide. Co-guide is optional. Co-guide can be there, might not be there. And there is one subject matter expert, whoever is expert in that particular topic. Okay. And other is dean, or rather a research coordinator, or whatever it is. Okay. So typically there would be 4 members who will form the committee. So this committee is the one who is going to check your thesis and certify that, okay, yes, this thesis is something that can be submitted to the external people for the evaluation. Okay, so this committee would be formed as soon as you join the PhD, within a month or two, or whatever it is in the beginning period. In couple of months, they will determine that, okay, these are the 4 people who are going to be part of your committee. So in your entire PhD journey, they will be monitoring you what exactly you are doing. So they are like guides. Okay, even though there is one main guide who is very close, they are closely monitoring and communicating with you. There is a co-guide who will come into picture in only when that sense that subtopic is coming into picture. There is a research coordinator and there is another SME who constitute this committee who is going to take you through the process. Okay, only if this committee thinks that your PhD can be submitted to external folks, then only your thesis will go to the external submission. If this committee feels that your thesis is not yet ready for external submission, then it will not even go for the evaluation. Okay.
So if that is the case, what will happen? You have to do the thesis, redo the thesis.
Till this committee is satisfied, you just have to keep working on your thesis. You will have to improvising your papers, whatever that you are actually submitting. So that is why having the right guide would really make your process simple as far as PhD is concerned. If you don't have a right guide, then it's like you need to please that person. It's as simple as that. They need to be confident saying that you wrote something which is good. Okay, so it's as
Also,
simple as that.
also the whole idea of PhD is to contribute something to the society. So, we try to solve one problem of society so that others get benefit out of it. So mostly in Viva, this is what happened. They ask the purpose of it, why we are doing it. It's not just for the sake of degree, but also something to contribute to the society in short. So the whole degree, doctoral degree is all about that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so there could be n number of dimensions of questions that would be coming. But let's say if you have worked on now, if you have worked on that topic for 3 years or 4 years, obviously you will be confident. If you have put a true effort, then it is very jujube. Even though now it appears that you will have to go and defend and all those stuff. But imagine that you have worked on a single topic, a small topic that we are talking about for 3 years. Obviously, you will have enough material to defend. So defense is not very tough. Okay, but if you have to deal with a psycho guide, then yes, it is a different problem altogether. But yes, nevertheless, yes, this, I mean, from the process point of view, there is an internal committee who needs to be satisfied, and then they will forward to external committee, and external committee needs to be satisfied, then your PhD is awarded. Okay, it's as simple as that. The internal committee can be satisfied within 2 years. Internal committee can be satisfied within 4 years. Internal committee might take 6 years to be satisfied. Okay, so that is why there is no fixed time period in terms of your, so there is a minimum time period, like most of the universities say 3 years is the minimum. Okay, but it is not really the criteria where 3 years ho gaya, then this guy or a girl got PhD. No, it is like till they are satisfied, you will end up doing PhD. Typically, it can be anywhere between 3 to 6. Most of the Indian universities, which are big universities like IASC, they will drag you for 5 to 6 years because they think the research has to be a quality research. So they will drag you to an extent that something which is like very big thing comes into picture. Okay. But some of the universities might be interested in getting more and more candidates. So they will try to actually see a simple topic and try to make it easy for the candidate and this. But it all depends on guide and university. Okay, typically. So there is no golden rule. But big universities in India tend to take more time. Okay, big universities in foreign are not as bad as India. But I mean, this is only so there is no hard and fast that big universities will take time for every candidate. I'm just talking about a typical observation. Okay, so most of the IITs, IASs take almost 5 to 6 years
But
to
I
award a
also know
PhD.
some people, Praveen, who finished their PhD in 2.5 years, and they
No, that is
really
why.
worked hard. From IITs and not from IIMs, from IITs, at least from engineering background.
Yeah. So
There
there
is
is
a
no hard and fast.
possibility.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
there's
is
a
what.
possibility if the work is good, if the project is good, it might just cleared earlier too.
Absolutely. So there is no hard and fast, as I said. But yes, I am talking about a typical trend. Okay. Uh, but yes, I mean, another question from Pallavi. Yes, Pallavi, UGC net score is not mandatory, but if you have net score, you can avoid writing entrance test for every university separate. Okay, so UGC net is not compulsory. But if you have that score, there is an advantage where you can avoid entrance test separately for every university. Otherwise, you will have to write entrance test for every university separately. That's the only thing. Okay. So yeah. Uh, so anything else that we missed? I try to actually share whatever the
You know.
experience until now.
I have a
Thank
quick
you, Praveen.
question. UGC net happens only during June cycle, or does it happen twice? Any idea?
I mean, based on my knowledge, it is twice, but I could be
Okay,
wrong because I haven't yet gone through that UGC net by myself. But
okay,
based on whatever I heard from people, it is twice.
okay, okay. And second question,
But I'm not hundred
do we have
percent sure about it. Yeah.
got okay. And the second question, do we know like I said, I know about 3, 4 universities that have PhD in Bangalore. Is there like a list or a place where we can figure out which are the universities that give PhD in psychology?
I mean, there are sites which actually give that particular kind of a data. I'll try to see if I can forward some of the sites
But
which,
if you go to the university website, you will be able to find out.
yeah,
Yeah,
there
so
are
that
easy sites as well where you can try to
They
find
even
out.
mention how many slots are available.
Yeah.
where did you get that info, Milna? Do you have any like websites or anything?
So
You
what
should
I
go to
did,
the university website, particular
uh,
university website.
also,
Hmm.
DJ, you can just type PhD program. It will show
Hmm.
you all the university. This is how I found my universities. Okay, the PhD is happening here, 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 here.
Okay, so I did that and I've been able to figure out 4. I don't know if there are other universities that I'm missing out on.
Yeah, I mean, yes, uh, there, there is no one shot easy way, I guess. But anyway, that we'll have to probably search few sites, and we might happily get those particular lists. But yeah, I mean,
So, like for example, Christ University has a PhD in psychology.
yes,
It's out of their main campus, but they
yes,
had part-time till about 2, 3 years ago, and they've discontinued part-time. There's
yeah,
only
because
full-time at Christ.
yeah, yeah. But as I said, right, if you catch hold of any guide
Mm-hmm,
there
mm-hmm,
and convince that you are going to complete PhD, then there is
mm,
every chance that Christ University might consider your application as part-time. Okay, so don't rule out
okay.
that particular possibility altogether. If you can manage to get hold of any guide and you think that you can convince them, you should still try that particular thing.
Because they've actually published on their website that there's no part-time.
But
Let
yeah,
me
but
go up
it
there.
is, see, the decision is there between two people. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
one is
mm-hmm,
guide and the other is dean.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Got it.
Okay, so if guide is convinced and if he or she thinks that they can convince dean, then
Mm,
your job is done.
got it. Okay. So, okay, now last question. Over here, now I can see that we have about 5, 6 of us. Have we formed like a WhatsApp group or something that we can have these conversations on?
There is one
And thanks,
WhatsApp
Ritika, for
group.
posting that.
Yeah, there is a WhatsApp group, PhD group, where we actually can discuss all these things. But yes,
Yeah,
you
we'll
Can you
add
can.
you
please be
there.
requested to be added?
Yes.
Just send me. I don't think so. I am the admin. Who is the admin in the group?
I don't know. Maybe me.
Okay, wait, I have to check. My phone is on charge. So what we'll do is maybe we'll send a link of that group to the main group.
I
And
am the
those who
I
are
am the admin.
Okay. So you can send the group. Actually, you can put it in our main group and see if there are more people interested in PhD, because right now it's only few of us, and half of us are already got into PhD. So it's only some of them more left.
Who has
Yeah,
gotten
that
away? I know Praveen and Ritika, you have, I'm guessing.
Yes, so I got into full-time PhD in management, not in psychology, with
Uh-huh.
Alliance.
Okay. Okay.
Praveen Jiba is part-time psychology, liberal arts. Praharsh is also part-time liberal arts, but from Amrita.
Okay. 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 Cool.
Well, I think that's it. And
Praveen, can I please request you to add to the group, please?
yes, I
And
already
can I
done. I
send
think
you the oh
yeah,
perfect.
yeah, Ritika, you can stop the recording
yeah,
now.
I was about to ask.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much, Praveen, for this
Yep.
enlightening session.